That's right, I'm showing my face this time, so you can see the face of the degenerate who actually enjoys this schlock. So in all my years of watching reviews and video essays and just observing the general discourse over Mario Sunshine, I've noticed something. No matter what your opinion is, whether you think Mario Sunshine is the greatest 3D Mario game or a colorful goopy stain on the franchise, everyone seems to agree on at least two things. Pachinko Machine, bad. Lily Pad Ride, bad. But these two missions aren't just considered bad, they've gone down in infamy as some of the most frustrating missions in all of Mario history. And for the longest time, when people would trash talk these missions, I just nodded along in agreement. But recently I was replaying Sunshine and I realized something. Something that felt kind of bizarre to admit. I actually kind of love the Lily Pad Ride mission. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Mr. Scorpio, are you serious? Can you like blink 3 times if you're being held captive by a kidnapper who happens to have the most immaculate pill collection you ever done dare seen? But in all seriousness, I've genuinely grown to love this level. But enough intro talk, let's cut to the chase. This is why Lily Pad Ride actually kinda slaps. So one of the biggest complaints isn't even about the mission itself, but it's about getting to the mission. I mean, come on, you gotta unlock Yoshi and jump on all those boats and all that waiting, and oh, it's such a hassle, right? But I'd actually argue that most of this is a pro. I think it's really cool that getting to this mission is a little journey in itself. Seriously though, I think this little Yoshi boat exhibition works for me on multiple levels. The first reason being that it takes several little things that the game already established and recontextualizes them. Here's what I mean. So from the moment you enter Delfino Plaza, you can see these boats patrolling around, but we don't really know what they're intended for. I mean, obviously they're carrying some kind of freight. My point is that for a good chunk of the game, these boats aren't necessary to complete any missions. They just kinda seem like window dressing, nothing more than an extra little detail to flesh out the world. Or so we think. Same with this little wooden pillar with the banana on it. At first it just kinda seems like it's there for decorative purposes perhaps, but then in comes our little Yoshi boat exhibition, which takes these couple of things that seemed like insignificant details and just weaves them all together. Like, you know you need Yoshi to get past this orange goop, which indicates you gotta get Yoshi to this island somehow. It makes you think for a minute. And then you're all like, wait a minute, the boats. The boats that have been here all along, of course. And as you boat hop to the island, you realize, oh, that's what that seemingly random pillar with the banana on it was for. So I can land on it, eat the banana to keep Yoshi alive, then hop on the next boat, you see what I mean. And it's just kind of satisfying seeing these seemingly unimportant little elements come together to form this little escapade. I also like that the game doesn't spell it out for you either. There's no NPC that's like, Mama Minerals, here's how you get Yoshi to the island. But yeah, the game just kind of makes you think for yourself. It just kind of gives you the pieces and makes you put them together. But I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, but it's so annoying to navigate. You gotta like wait on the boat and then wait on the island to get on the next boat, and you're just waiting, just a lot of waiting. But I'm of the belief that a mission involving waiting around is not inherently a bad thing, so long as the waiting is justified, and in this case, I believe it is for the following reasons. First off, the boats are kinda tricky to land on, but not too tricky. But it's still possible that you'll overshoot or undershoot and end up in the water, causing you to restart. And because of this, I think it creates just the right amount of that uneasy feeling. Cause just imagine, you're standing there, you see the boat approaching in the distance, you know sticking the landing won't be too hard, but you're still a little uneasy. It kinda puts you in that headspace where you're like, okay, I got this, I can do this, right? Yeah, I got this. Right? In other words, it creates that perfect happy medium level of tension. And the other source of tension is Yoshi's fruit meter, which slowly runs out until he eats more fruit. There's a couple points on the journey where you gain access to fruit, the first time being on this first island. But you might not have known that if you didn't look up at this here palm tree, which also happens to be the same palm tree used for a different mission where you put the coconuts in this lady's basket. It's quite the multifaceted palm tree we got here. And then there's another source of fruit on the aforementioned wooden pillar with the conveniently placed bananas. So you just also gotta make sure you stay on top of Yoshi getting fed throughout your little escapade. So not only does this scenario create that perfect happy medium of tension that I mentioned, but this tension also has a couple layers to it. Hence why I believe all this waiting around is justified. But we haven't even talked about the elephant in the room yet. We've just been talking about the journey to get to that elephant. It's time to discuss the main attraction. Behold, the Lily Pad Ride. Now I want to take a second to admire the architecture of the stage, cause it's actually kinda hilarious. So it's a river, it's floating in the sky, but look at this pipe. Notice how it extends thousands of feet below to the ground. It's like it wasn't good enough for the game developers to just have a floating river. No, they had to inform us that we indeed have a water source coming from thousands of feet below. You gotta love the attention to detail. Anyway, the water's poison, touch it once and you die. So you gotta ride this lily pad as you collect the red coins. But there's another twist, cause the toxic water is making this poor lily pad decay. So you have a limited time before it withers away right underneath you.
It dissolves! What?
Honestly, it's a pretty creative setup. It's simple enough, but still has a couple of stakes. So what's the issue? Are the lily pad controls broken like the pachinko machine or something? Well, no, it controls basically the same as any other lily pad in the game. The only difference is that you have to deal with the current of the river, which does kinda jerk you around a little bit. And to be fair, this does make controlling it a bit challenging, I'm not gonna deny that. But thankfully, the game developers took the challenging nature of the controls into consideration, because in order to collect the first 3 red coins, you must, wait for it, go in a straight line. That's right, it actually starts off super easy. And then the 4th red coin doesn't even deviate that much from the straight line path. And we know there's 8 red coins in total. In other words, for basically the first half of this mission, very little input is required from the player. It's not until the 5th red coin where we really have to start maneuvering this poor dying lily pad. And it's not until the 7th red coin where we actually have to jump. Ooh, but what about that final red coin? I bet they saved something really tricky for that one. Well, no. The last red coin is actually a freebie. It almost feels like a nice little nod to the player. Almost like the game developers are saying, hey, nice job, here's a free one for all your efforts. Honestly, I'd argue this mission has a perfect progression of difficulty. If anything, it's kinda lenient, as the first half of the red coins require very little input from the player, and they don't put your dying lily pad maneuvering skills to the test until the last few red coins. And sure, you're technically on a time limit, cause, you know, ya boy the lily pad ain't doing too well. But as long as you're not moving at a snail's pace, you should be fine. But there is one thing I'll give the detractors credit for. So there's this green pipe at the end of the stage. And if it's your first time playing, you might be thinking, oh, is that pipe gonna take me back to the beginning of the level, like if I missed a few red coins? Nope, it just boots you out of the level completely, which is just super obnoxious and misleading, and like, why even have it there? So yeah, to the haters of this level, aka the rest of the world, I'll give you this point. It is but one blemish on my beautiful, pristine, sparkling poison river. And there you have it. The spiciest Mario Sunshine hot take you'll probably ever hear. And who knows, maybe I've just replayed Sunshine too many times and it's corrupted my tastes. And now this degeneracy is what it takes to get me off nowadays. But even if that's the case, it's still my honest opinion. Anyway, give this video a like, sound off in the comments, I'm sure it's gonna be interesting down there. Subscribe for more content, and come here. I gotta let you in on a little secret. Even if YouTube won't let us see it, the dislike button is still an option. I know you wanna. Also, you're welcome for that little bit of ASMR. Anyway, that's all for now. Peace.